Good evening and welcome to an all-new What the Friday. I'm your host, Andrea, and I guess you already knew that. But I hope y'all have had a really good week. Mine was good. I didn't really do anything terribly exciting, unless you count a ton of schoolwork as being very exciting. Now, the kids were out of school today, and they'll be out again on Monday, so that kind of put a damper on my Friday. No, y'all, I'm just kidding. I love when the kids are out of school. Kind of felt like spring here this week, too. We had some really warm days and even a thunderstorm or two, but the nights, they were cold. So that was Mother Nature's way of gently reminding us that it's technically still winter. All right, so tonight we're going to take it to the creepy side for a little while. It's been a while since we've talked about cryptids here on this show. So tonight we're taking it to Wisconsin and talking about the Beast of Bray Road and a few other of his friends.
Welcome to What the Friday, an After Dark series presented by Mystery, Murder, and Magic. Listener discretion is advised.
So imagine you're driving down a dark road on a foggy night. You're tired from a long day of work or maybe keeping up with your kids. You just want to be at home in your comfy pajamas, maybe with a good book. And as you're thinking about what you're going to do when you get home, you see something on the side of the road as you pass. It looked like maybe a dog, but maybe it was a person. And you're pretty sure it was feasting on the carcass of a deer that you've passed there on the side of the road the past 3 days. Your first thought is, what the hell is that? You think about turning around and taking another look, but a nagging in the pit of your stomach is telling you to get the heck out of Dodge. And as you drive away, you laugh at yourself, and you chalk it up to just being tired and your imagination playing tricks on you. Maybe it wasn't your imagination. Since 1936, people in the Bray Road area of Elkhorn, Wisconsin have reported seeing a humanoid creature with dog-like features. In the 1980s and 1990s, people reported seeing it in Racine, Wisconsin, Racine, Walworth, and Jefferson counties in Wisconsin. Some folks believe it's a werewolf, while others say it's a Bigfoot. But one thing they can agree on is that when they've seen this creature, it appears to be eating or scavenging for something to eat. Over the years, this beast has been given names such as man-wolf, bear-wolf, Wisconsin werewolf, and the indigenous dog-man. Another thing that those who have witnessed the beast agree on is its appearance. It's described as being between 6 and 7 feet tall, with a humanoid-type body, covered with gray or brown hair or fur. And sometimes the beast is seen walking on all fours like a canine, but at other times it's seen as a biped on 2 feet. Back in the 1980s, there were several sightings, including one where a woman said that she had hit something on Bray Road, and when she stopped to take a look, she saw a larger than usual wolf-like creature that had red eyes, and it chased her back to her car. Later, she found that the creature had left claw marks on the rear passenger door of her car. Others have also reported that some damage has come to their vehicles from coming into contact with the beast. Most of the sightings have taken place at night, but a few have also taken place during daylight hours. A few locals have reported seeing the beast chasing a deer through a cornfield. Some folks have claimed that animal mutilations in that area are to blame on that beast. The animals included deer and livestock, and all had been partially eaten, and all of them had the same organs removed. Now, the Beast of Bray Road hasn't disappeared into history either. As recent as July of 2020, there were reports of seeing the beast in the Spring Prairie and Lyons areas of Walworth County. Think about this. You're a young Native American warrior. Your chief gathers you and a few other warriors to sail across the lake to fertile land for a late night hunting trip. The lake is illuminated by the light of the moon. You and the others push the canoe into the water and set out with hopes of having a prosperous hunt for your tribe on the not-so-distant shore of the lake. But instead of making it across the lake, suddenly your canoe is engulfed in a swarm of octopus or squid-like tentacles. As your canoe sinks, you're fighting for your life, while you and the others are being pulled under the dark waters. Tribesmen on the home shore hear yours and the others' screams, but it's much too late at that point. No one that had been in the canoe survived. And now every year, to honor your and the others' memories, and also to hopefully keep the monster, whatever it was, from attacking again, a huge festival is thrown and animal sacrifices are thrown into the murky waters. Now, the tradition of that festival carries on even today. The name of the festival that this happened, or the name of the lake that this happened on, is Devil's Lake, and it's no wonder with its gory history. When the first Christian missionaries arrived on its shores, the Nakota tribe told them about the monster and described it as an octopus-like creature. But that wasn't the only cryptid associated with that lake. The lake was starting to dry up, but the tribe stayed close to it because it was their only source of water for miles around. And one benefit of the lake's drying was that the food that the Nakota ate were basically exposing themselves to get a sip of water. Now, this made it easy for the Nakota to hunt and have a more than adequate supply of meat. And as the summer wore on, the lake shrank more and more, and eventually it became 2 lakes. After the separation into 2 lakes, the Nakotas discovered this huge fish-like being. The tribe watched in disbelief as the creature tried to free itself from the mud and the muck that separated the 2 lakes. Not even the bravest among them would dare approach the creature for fear that something worse than the drought they were already going through would be put on them. In time, the creature freed itself and made it into deeper waters without harming anyone. Now, fast forward to 1950, and yet another cryptid makes its appearance at that same lake. On March 4th of that year, a teenage girl named Mary Allen was walking along the shore of Devil's Lake when she came across a peculiar sight. There, right in front of her, laid a carcass that was described as weighing over 1,000 pounds, 22 feet long, had the body of a cow, 9 tails, and hair all over. It was named Old Harry by the locals, and to this day that carcass is still identified as to what species it is, or was. But what if that creature that dragged those Nakota warriors under the water was actually Old Harry? I mean, it had 9 tails that could be what that tribe thought that was tentacles, and it was nighttime. So how clear of a look could they have actually gotten at that creature? I mean, we may never know. Now, this doesn't deal with cryptids, but it's pretty interesting. The town of Whitewater, Wisconsin is also known as the Second Salem, and it's called that for good reason. The town has a very dramatic past, including stories of witches, spirits, and murderers. But a lot of this has been chalked up to being mostly rumors, and those rumors were attributed to someone named Morris Pratt. Now, Pratt and his brothers moved to Wisconsin in the 1800s from upstate New York. Pratt had a very big interest in spiritualism, and as a matter of fact, he was so interested in spiritualism that he founded the Pratt Institute in 1888, and it opened the following year. Now, this institute wasn't something that he went around bragging about, because it taught like taboo subjects, or what was taboo back in those times. The school taught subjects like psychic research, comparative religion, Bible study and how it relates to spiritualism, and evolution. So you can see why I said it was a taboo subject matter for those times. Another interesting activity that would take place from time to time there was seances, and these would take place in an all-white room on the 3rd floor. Pratt passed away at the age of 81 in 1902, but the Institute carried on and branched out to offer other areas of studies. The school stayed active until 1946 in its original building, and then moved to Milwaukee, where it remains active to this day. The original building, though, it was bought by AT&T and demolished in the 1950s. Now, a lot of hauntings take place around and near the grounds of the original campus in Whitewater. One such haunting involves the story of a woman named Myrtle, who in 1922 poisoned her husband. And why did she do that? Well, Myrtle was a cook for boarding students there, and she fell in love with a student. I guess she just preferred younger men to the older dairy farmers. So anyway, she poisoned her husband, Edward, so that she could be with that younger man. She became known as the Poison Widow. Well, this farmhouse that she and Edward lived in was relocated further down the road, but its original location was where the Calvary Cemetery is today. Myrtle and Edward are even buried there in that cemetery, and their old farmhouse is now used as student housing. Forgot to silence my phone, y'all. I mean, student housing, y'all. That's kind of yikeish, I guess you could say. But that very cemetery is also known for something that's called the Witch's Triangle. That triangle is formed by Oak Grove Cemetery, Hillside Cemetery, and Calvary Cemetery. It has been said that every single thing within the triangle is haunted. And would you dare to guess what used to be dead center in the triangle? It's none other than the original Pratt Institute building. Now, another particularly interesting building inside of the triangle is the Wells Tower, and it's also been called by locals the Witch's Tower. A lot of creepy activity has been reported around that tower. One person reported a ghost named Maryworth. The person that reported this said that sometimes when he and his girlfriend were alone, they would play with a Ouija board. Now, I just want to say again, and I've said it before, if you don't know what you're doing, leave it alone. Bad things can happen. But anyway, one night, the board was very active and repeatedly spelled out Maryworth. Well, soon the lights started shutting off and coming back on. Doors would slam, and objects that didn't normally glow, they would glow. And the guy and his girlfriend, no, they were never harmed, but they believed that the spirit of Maryworth, that person that was spelled out on that Ouija board, was causing all of these shenanigans, and it spooked them enough that they soon rented another room after those strange things started happening. Now, I'm old, y'all, but y'all might not remember this, but I swear back in the day when there used to be comic strips and newspapers, and I mean there might still be now because I look at everything online, but anyway, I swear there was a comic strip called Maryworth. I'm going to have to look into that later. Well, one last thing that I'd like to mention about Whitewater is this book, and it's a locked book. A local legend says that a book in the Anderson Library on the campus of University of Whitewater is very evil and has caused 4 people to kill themselves, and many others have gone insane after reading the book. I mean, damn, what could be in the book, right? Well, it's said that the book is connected with the witches of Whitewater, and it's so dangerous that it's locked away in the library's basement. So I guess they're afraid to destroy it, and I can't blame them. But anyway, it can be viewed upon request, but the book is described as being a large antique hymn book that is written in Latin and donated to the library after the church it belonged to closed its doors. Very interesting. So, have you guys ever witnessed any of these strange things in Wisconsin? If you have, we'd love to hear about it. You can leave us a comment on our Facebook or Twitter accounts. And who knows, they might just be used on a future episode. And of course, with your permission. And if we do, you can be anonymous on if it's used on a future episode. Well, y'all, that's all I have time for tonight. Have a good weekend, and don't forget to listen to the Weekend Weird Files in the morning. It's a pretty good one that looks back on a freaky accident that happened back in 1981. Good night and sweet dreams.